Hi, welcome back. This is my neuroplasticity logs, where I will be documenting my journey in my course in creative computing and how I'm using magic, technology, AI, and an active approach to neuroplasticity to change my brain and make myself smarter through biohacking. Yeah, so this week has been a bit of a slow week, but I've had some good developments. It's been a slow week in multiple ways, actually. One way is a really, really good way, which is that I've been falling into an accidental dopamine detox, based on just really not listening to podcasts while doing other things and having so many tasks to do, for admin stuff for uni and learning to code and stuff that I found it like quite easy to just kind of dopamine detox basically and be in every task properly, and really enjoying moving on from the absurdist stuff I've been entertaining, like really enjoying. It's been from that like desire to actually focus on and enjoy each task that I've naturally blocked out any distractions like podcasts, because I'm like, no, I'm focusing on the task. The task is valuable inherently. And so that's been awesome. It's a lot easier to do work, like to start doing work, because it just feels like that's what I need to be doing, and everything else is just a distraction and it doesn't feel useful. The only issue is the distractions themselves, which have now slowly crept back in after this initial momentum. I'm getting this like rebound of like distractions from the actual task that's happening, which I like to kind of assign to like a kind of a trickster figure, just for fun, really. It's a form of magic, but just sort of like encapsulating that energy and saying like, not today. People say not today, Satan, or whatever, like that kind of energy of just being like, no, I don't need to be tempted to be distracted by these tiny little tasks, because that's it. I think it goes quite well with the trickster energy, because it's often like something that seems important, that actually is what distracts me. It's not I'm like 2 minutes into coding, I want to go and like watch a sitcom now. Like it's like, oh, I should be doing this. This reminds me of this. Oh, I should be doing this task. Let's do this task. And that's that kind of scatterbrained, lateral thinking stuff from the burnout and the meds that I was on before and stuff. So I've been rewarding myself with neuropositive points with with my device, my watch, the counting device, to like every time I'm not distracted, every time I like feel the distraction coming, like an urge to do a different task, a side task, and every time I resist that, I kind of get like half a point, and that's been really cool. Giving myself something to do, because it's like you almost kind of want that stimulation of a thing to do, and so just turning the dial and getting that point, that new point, gives you a little bit of stimulation to sort of like, so you can sort of feed that to the trickster and say, oh well, I'll make you do a deal. You can't have this stupid task that you want me to do, but you can have some points. Here's some food. There you go. Some fairy dust, just to sprinkle in their direction. Just say, I'll keep you happy for now. Bye. And that kind of works. But sometimes it's hard to, I think I need to maintain the idea that if I'm going to do a task later, I actually am going to do it later, because that's what draws me to be tempted to do things right now, because I realize that actually I keep putting things to be done later and they never get done even when I schedule them, because the main thing just takes the whole day, and the main thing is usually coding or something like that. But then I do get lost in the minutiae of, I don't know, going to get something. Today I went to, I had a planned visit to go get some new clothes for my course, at the charity shop with my friend. and just the getting there and the getting back, it just ended up taking the whole day really away, and I've planned on spending a whole day coding, but I didn't even really waste it. It was just doing these little pieces. But anyway, that's an outlier, because most of these days have been in the uni like study area, like studying stuff, and like trying to do coding on Code Academy, and yeah, sometimes getting distracted, or like things happening. Like, I think a lot of it is just getting up late, and then yeah. So the routine still needs to come back around. Yeah, I haven't managed to introduce a middle routine. Morning routine still going strong, but yeah. So anyway, I've also this week I've also been in terms of my media. I've been listening to the audiobook of Carol Dweck, and I believe it's called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. Yeah, I've been recommended that, and it's been really awesome. It's like when Carol like explores how yeah, like the growth mindset can be advantageous to yeah, fulfilling your potential. How there's how there, like, she kind of categorizes people into these two types: people who have this fixed mindset and this growth mindset. And the fixed mindset is when you sort of believe that intelligence and abilities are fixed, and you kind of either have it or you don't for various things. And then there's people who believe in growth mindset, like, okay, well, you can, if you try really hard, work towards something and get better at it, and that goes for everything, including intelligence and like individual tasks of all kinds. So yeah, I think like moving into gives a lot of evidence into how like much difference getting into this growth mindset and getting like kids in schools that she's worked with into this mindset has helped change their lives and allow them to do awesome things. And yeah, I had the example of Christopher Reeve, who was paralyzed by his accident, told that he wouldn't be able to do anything much at all, but he kind of drastically trained and overthrew what people thought about what was possible in medical science for recovery from a spinal injury that he had that was so powerful. So yeah, it really shows that perseverance and resilience and like can really go miles in terms of growth. I think the thing is the fixed mindset has this kind of narcissism to it. It's like, I'm good at this thing, or I'm not good at this thing, and I don't want to learn because I'm good at that thing, so I won't even bother learning more, because, well, the real answer behind the scenes is because I don't want to come up against questions and challenges that will reveal that actually I'm not that good at this thing, or as good as I thought I was. And that fragile self-esteem of often with the people who have this fixed mindset can't take that feeling of I'm not good at this thing yet. And it's that yet that really makes the difference and pushes you into the growth mindset, which is where I'm at now. I think it's been working well. I feel like I'm truly in this mindset. Like, I really do believe that I can get better at things. I think the growth mindset has come, has grown on me over the past year or so. And so this has been nice to kind of solidify this with some terms, because it makes sense, and I really like it. I know it could be a bit wishy-washy, like self-helpy stuff, but I don't know, I think it's important. I think that truly believing that you can grow your mind been is has been proven by neuroscience that is possible. So yeah, I think it's really, that's like the growth mindset is the like ideological like support for that, which is much needed. So I think, yeah, we should all on this journey like make sure we have some sort of ideological backbone that we can, or like, yeah, scaffolding sort of thing that we can build around, um, build ourselves around, because you know you do need some like intellectual like points to keep you going, um, because obviously, yeah, building this muscle is really important, and building these neural pathways is what you're doing, but having like a context and a framework for that is really helpful to, yeah, like keeping it going. So yeah, I've also noticed that this comes into the idea of the timers. Like I keep slacking on using timers, and my tasks take me forever. And I realize like I both don't set timers, and also like I end up not setting timers or not checking timers, um, because, or like not checking my diary, my like Google Calendar tasks thing to show that the task is up and what the next one is, um, because of that kind of fixed mindset narcissism, that idea that um, like to realize I've not done a task in the amount of time that I thought it would take or I want it to take is painful for my ego. I can't take that feeling of like the reality that a coding task that should take an hour, or like has taken me, or a simple task in daily life should take an hour, has taken me like 3 hours or something. So I don't check it, and I just like try to power through and say, okay, well, we'll address that once this task is done. This task needs to be done, and I don't want to lose flow and momentum. And I guess that is something that's valid, that I would like to kind of, I'd love, I don't know, anyone's feedback on if this ever gets out there to anyone, but like that flow, I guess, has been such a wonderful state. Like that's my answer to the question of how to deal with the monotony of studying. Is if you're trying to deal with this monotony, this absurdism or whatever, or absurdity, then you're framing it wrong. Like you're framing it from this point of ego, and the self, but the self is an illusion. And yeah, to move into that kind of Taoist, an illusion that's useful, but not in that case. And you know, I think just moving into that Taoist, melting into the Taoist kind of viewpoint is very like pleasurable. And I think, I mean, yeah, like flow happens naturally, and that really is just that melting in and kind of acquiescing to the Tao, but in a way that's still active, which is really like, I guess, what the Tao is all about. It's not like being passive and not doing anything. It's Taoism is about like using the smallest amount of force necessary to get something done, even if that amount of force is like punching someone in the face or cutting their head off. Like those are completely valid to a Taoist, but you just, only if that's like the path of least resistance, or like the path of, yeah, kind of least effort, I guess. And so yeah, like I guess it's for me being about like moving forward with that attitude, and like, yeah, it's just been naturally like been enjoying things more. So yeah, I need to find a way to use those timers properly, and like engage with how I feel about these timers, and like, yeah. So I'm thinking that I'm going to use a little mini ritual, which is actually what ChatGPT, I ran my log through ChatGPT, suggested within this context. Just doing a little ritual to like symbolize my commitment to not being distracted by things, and maybe also to the timers. So I'd like to do that, maybe create a little amulet or something as well, to like sort of remind myself to stay on task, and to not get distracted by other things, and not like of my commitment, and to form and remind myself of a commitment to staying on each task, and checking my timers and committing to the timers and reviewing the timers when they're up, and looking at my schedule even if I'm in flow, and finding a way to like kind of resume flow, like break flow, so that I can check where I'm at, but then resume flow afterwards again quickly. I guess is the experiment I'd like to maybe have this week, in like how long can I keep flow going without burning out, and then like I guess like how and if I can interrupt flow, so that I can make sure I'm not flowing in the wrong direction, and then like resume it again after. So yeah, I guess there's that, and then there's also a reluctance to acknowledge that I might be slower at a task than estimated, and I think that's something I need to just take on the chin. I'm going to be slower at these things. I am slower in these things, and I take, some of the distractions is thinking of those self flagellating thoughts that of like, oh, if only I hadn't done this, then I would be thinking my brain would be better, or if I had got more sleep, then I'd be thinking more clearly, and if I hadn't spent today doing this, then I'd have more time, and blah blah blah, and I would have done this by now, and it just doesn't help at all, does it? I mean, regret is an important emotion. I think it's underrated. It helps you to not make the same mistakes again. So yeah, I very like quite strongly against when people say no regrets. Like, no, have regrets. If you abuse a cashier and regret it, that's a good thing. Next time, hopefully you won't, regrets are a bad thing. Sometimes it's important to feel that regret. If you blow all of your savings on something stupid, sitting in that regret is powerful. It's like creating emotions and pathways that just like really like make you more averse to making those mistakes again, or the idea of those mistakes. And yeah, I guess that regret process can often lead to like kind of unhelpful trauma responses. So that's something you should kind of think about when you're regretting, like as an activity when you're sitting there regretting. But yeah, I think that sitting there and regretting is something that should be done at certain times, like throughout your day, doing menial things like riding a bike or washing up. And you can allow those stupid thoughts to happen for a second and then let them go. But while you're studying or like trying to do something productive, no, not important, not needed, and just not needed. So yeah, I think in terms of the coding stuff, it's been really nice to be engaging with coding properly. I started a Codecademy course on JavaScript. It was estimated 1 hour, and it took me an hour, or it was estimated like maybe 1.5 hours, or maybe it took me an hour and a half, I think. But basically, it felt I passed it in the amount of time, more or less, that was recommended. So that felt amazing because I didn't think I was capable of that. And yeah, it's been really nice to like sort of be there and feeling the burn of like, this is hard and I want to give up, or I don't want to give up, but like I'm suddenly have the urge to do something else or look away, or I need to check this or do that. But no, you have to stick with it and feel it. It's like I have that phrase in my head from Peep Show, when Mark is teaching Jez how to read a book, and he's like, okay, so you read this line, right? And he goes, yeah. And he says, you probably want to look away now, don't you? And he says, yeah. And he says, well, don't. Keep reading. It's like, yeah, it's literally that simple. David Goggins style. I just have to power through it. And also, I watched this video on learning techniques, and one of the important ones is kind of filling in blanks. So I want to try that, like creating a template and filling in of like the answer to a solution, and then filling in the gaps like that you intentionally put there, like taking out bits of the answer, and then filling it in. But also that phrasing a question can really help you to understand things, have like a kind of pre-understanding of something. You can learn stuff from just answering questions that you don't know the answer to at all, because the question like contains within it a certain amount of knowledge and like context as to how the things in the question relate to each other and could interact. So that's a really good one. Is kind of testing is important, and filling out these template type problem solving can be really useful. But also yeah, like feeling the burn, and yeah, like pushing through and saying no, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep reading it, and not worrying too much about like whether the exact wording has gone in, because sometimes it won't, and you just have to keep reading and go on to the rest of the task and try to do some actionable things, especially with the coding. Especially on Code Academy, there'll be like a block to read and like some examples in it, and then there'll be like a task to do, coding task to do that you can fiddle with, and like a kind of obviously any errors, and you can get feedback from that as well on the far right. And then yeah, it's like I think about like reading through it and not getting too bogged down on this rereading the same line over and over again, because often that doesn't, it can be a waste of time, and you might answer it by context later on. So I'd like to experiment with maybe even like skim reading the entire thing first and then properly reading it, like proper speed reading it the first time, and with no exceptions to slow down, and then properly reading it afterwards. I think that's going to be one of my goals actually for this week. And yeah, like taking an errand break has been nice. Like I had a long day with no breaks, but I decided to kind of put an errand break in the middle, something I needed to do, but it was physical and that I had to go out and do, like cycling, to get to town to do something. That was like a nice way to be productive and still kind of get a break from my mind and get out of the room. Which kind of brings me to another main point that was like on second locations. It's been really, really, really deeply satisfying as someone who's been depressed for the last year, and in the same room, my room, whatever it has been at the time, for a really long time. It's been really satisfying being at uni all the time and being surrounded by other people, the opportunity for conversations and new conversations with people regularly, people that are interesting. It's hard to obviously manage the distraction with that, but like I think I've realized, like it's something that you learn gradually, and that I had like time, in a little kind of officey space away from anyone to really focus, and I can do that when I really need focus, and then when I want like maybe a more medium level of focus, and to allow people to come in and say hi, then I can hang out in the group shared area. But yeah, it's been nice, like getting out of my room and not being in my room very much at all, even though it's a new place. But yeah, it's really nice. But I want to be aware of falling into the trap of the second location just becoming the first location, like the office becoming the bedroom. Like basically I just need to get out and be in more than two places. So I'd like to explore working in other places like coffee shops and stuff, and where that might be noisy, I'd like to explore the library as well, the uni library as well as the public library, outdoors versus indoor spaces, and kind of see how these all feel. And yeah, I think really enjoying reveling in the opportunity to feel confident in public spaces, as this kind of feeling of self-consciousness in public spaces is slowly waning, due to my like morning meditations in that area, and like magic in that area that I've done. It's been really successful. So focusing despite distractions has taken a dip this time after this week after the initial energy, but I'm going to get it back with a magic ritual, and something to kind of represent my commitment to that, and commitment to timers, which is going to be integrated again. I'm going to continue the dopamine detox, and I'm going to remember to take breaks, including walking outside and things that involve a little moment of nature, seeing some trees, a little tiny walk, and I'm going to enjoy being in that kind of flow mindset, and finding a gap between flows, and a way to turn the flow on and off when I need to be able to check that it's going in the right direction, really. And so once these mindful breaks and stuff are in my routine, I'd like to kind of make sure to, again, still working on that midday routine, which I haven't quite nailed yet because my overall routine isn't fixed yet. But when it is, that's exactly where I want to be, that midday routine. I'd like to have this kind of mini ritual for beginning work, where I kind of set an intention to resist the distractions, and ward off that trickster energy. I'll let you know how all of that goes. I'm also excited to explore AI mind maps a bit more this week. If anyone has any recommendations for good software, please let me know. All right, see you guys in the next one. Peace.